I was looking at subclasses, and I plan to cover most, if not all of them, before Beyond Light. Some are underused. We've talked about Bottom Tree Sentinel, Top Tree Striker, Top Tree Arc Strider. A couple more, ways to get some use out of them, pairing some exotics, things like that. But I want to start getting into Voidwalker, as you saw with the title of the video. I'm going to kind of explain what I mean here. The thing about Voidwalker is I don't really see it out there, and there are certain subclasses that feels like they have a low usage rate. And about a month ago, I was talking about Voidwalker trees in my Discord on Twitter, and out of the 3 choices, the Devour tree was considered the least used. And with Devour, the general consensus when asked, they felt like when they used Devour, or tried Devour, that the subclass was somewhat wasted, meaning that some said outright they feel like they weren't good enough to run it, essentially. That other characters better suit them, other subclasses with exotics, maybe Dune Marchers, whatever it is, that's understandable. I looked for the past week and just look at the numbers here, and the video is a little bit delayed getting out, so it's going to be the past week, but the pattern is still there. On PC, as far as win rate out of the 9 subs, it's right there at the bottom. And on PC for KDA, again, it's right there at the bottom. To go further, on PC in the last 6 months in the Crucible, again, both the win rate and the KDA, it's at the bottom. I'm going to talk briefly about PvE later on. This is mostly PvP focused, but what kind of conclusions can we come to here? Like, what are the variables? Is it that Voidwalker is just bad? Can they not compete? Do average and above average players stay away from them and use something like Dawnblade, things like that? Or are below average players using Voidwalker and just not doing well with it? On console, it's near the same thing, but on console, Sunbreaker has that low mark. Voidwalker is going to be in the bottom 3 for KDA win rate. And a note with Sunbreaker, that has a lot to do with the super, in my opinion. You're a sitting duck, there's no advanced movement, you just kind of run and go. They're very easy to shoot at, you can be taken out a little bit easier than the other supers. But back to Voidwalker, to me, it's somewhat troubling for a couple reasons. First, if this subclass right here, Voidwalker, right now, if nothing's done to it, we have stasis coming out, new subclasses, new exotics, and something like the poison melee comes to mind. Maybe with Top Truth Bloom, you can do some real work with it, but as a whole, Voidwalker just isn't seen to being used. And the second part why it's somewhat troubling is that each of the Voidwalker trees do have some good neutral game elements. And to briefly go through those, we have the Bloom tree, Top Tree. I actually use this a decent amount when I'm on Warlock for something like Trials. There's a lot of worth to me having the Super Axion Bolt. To be able to charge the grenade, throw it out, with 3 peeking passive play, it makes players move. And if they're not a hunter, it's going to make them run. It's really good to force movement, it's really good to push with. The super isn't bad, it can take out anything, but just remember to detonate it early. Detonate it yourself if something like a blocking Arc Strider is in front of you, because they can't block that once you detonate it. The tree as a whole with your abilities has Bloom. It can work. Middle tree has the handheld Supernova, though nerfed, it still does well. It's a very unique grenade. Dark Matter's amazing, Void ability kills grant health and melee, grenade and class ability. The melee has a pushback mechanic, the super is competent, especially with Blink, it's a good subclass. Now bottom tree Devour is kind of the head scratcher to me. Again, I found a lot of players feel like they can't play with it or just don't use it. The whole tree is centered around Devour. Kills with a melee ability fully regenerate your health. For a short time afterward, kills restore health. After you get a Nova Bomb kill, you get Devour. After you hold and consume your grenade, you get Devour. The super's kind of lackluster, but I'm not really worried about it. It's a one and done type of deal, either a panic super or you use it offensive. And to compare, a lot of players use Top Tree Night Stalker. The Tether definitely isn't a great super. They use it for the Invis, they use it for Keen Scout. And they're pairing those with Wormhusk. With Devour, getting health after kills is crazy good, but you need to get kills, you need to go on streaks. When you think of the landscape of the Crucible, that goes a long way. Then pairing it with something like the Karnsteins, or maybe the new Necrotic Gloves. I personally think that Devour is one of the best PvP subclasses in the game. I really do. Very, very high ceiling, but has a literal floor. If you can't get Devour going, it's near useless. I made a video not too long ago about pairing Pulse Monitor with Devour. Check that out because you're near unstoppable with it. But I want to bring this up. I don't know what you guys think. Is this subclass just bad? Is it good, but the others are just kind of better? There was a time in Destiny where Voidwalker was a top choice, but it appears not so much anymore. Let's talk about why that is, and it's also worth noting that ever since Skull of Dire Ahamkara was nerfed, it sees very little use in PvE as well. With all that being said, I know a lot of you do use Voidwalker. You're like, what are you talking about? But from what I've researched and asked around and looked at, it's at the bottom. I'm still getting back in the algorithm here. YouTube hates it when you take 3 weeks off, so I'm building it back up for Beyond Light. So if you're new here, remember to hit the sub button. And if you'd like to join the channel for a membership, you can do that as well. It helps me out a ton. If you're looking for a new controller, I am partnered with Scuff Gaming. Use the link down below and use my code COOL at checkout for a discount. But let's talk about Voidwalker down below in the comment section. Like, what happened? With where it's at right now, will it possibly be less appealing once Stasis comes out? What do you think? Thank you for watching, and until the next one, I'm CoolGuy.